Hello and welcome back to AutoNerd. This week, we're going to be talking about the spot where so many sales consultants lose the customer immediately, right after discovery. It's before you even get to the test drive. Now, either you lost the customer and they're going to go through the motions, go on the test drive, and may even get to negotiation, or they simply just walk right out the door. Either way, the customer is going to be lost. And it usually comes down to the fact that we forgot one of the most important phrases that's going to go through the customer set. And it goes through yours as well when you're in shopping situations. Show me that you heard me. Show me that you heard me. Now, in episode 55, the discovery episode or the test drive trap, where we talked a lot about making sure that we're getting the information to show the right things. Because nobody in the history of automobiles has ever purchased the whole car. I mean, seriously, when's the last time that you took a hub off a vehicle and you started counting all the bearings? It might sound ridiculous, but very commonly I get people that are like, well, when it comes down to the vehicle, I sell the whole car. Why? Why? You're working far too hard. So today we're going to make sure that you never lose a customer because you simply became a spec sheet. And here's an example. I remember when I was selling, I went to a training. I got really jazzed up about a product that was just launched. Now, at the time, I was selling Volkswagens. As I'm selling these vehicles, we picked up the brand new Passat, and a couple came in through the front door, and they were really jazzed up to see the car. So I did what any good salesperson would do, and I grabbed the vehicle, pulled it right around for them, and we started going through it and through it and through it some more. I just got out of the training. I dropped all 365 points of that walk around right down on their lap, and they left. Actually, they told me straight up before they left why they were going to leave. And it was the fact that I think the car just has too much equipment on it. And I scared them away because I turned into a walking spec sheet. And this is something that we want to avoid. Avoid it like the plague if you have the ability, because people don't want to talk to a walking textbook. They want to talk to a human. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to build it all right around this week's tool. So if you haven't gathered this week's tool yet, go down in the show notes. You'll see the tool right on in there. Click the link and it will take you right over to my webpage. Go ahead, download that tool. It's there to help you out. And we release tools every week as companions to go along with our episodes. Here's the trap that many of us tend to fall into. We see car, point at car, say, hey, their car, and we start vomiting specs. Things like 39-inch display up front, 9-speed automatic transmission, quad zone climate control. The customer nods politely, and then they start secretly planning their dinner order in their brain. They stop listening to us, and they want to leave. Specs without context isn't just boring, it's straight up insulting. It tells the customer that, hey, I wasn't listening to you in the first place when we went through that whole 20 minutes of us sitting around the desk. And on top of that, what you desire, I don't care about. I'm going to show you the things that I love, and with a little luck, you will too. This is where that little bit of arrogance pops up with us when we're selling that I've never quite understood. It's our desire to put ourselves before the customer, whereas the customer is the only party that matters in this transaction. Let's check this out. Specs Robot will go ahead and say things like, and we've got a panoramic sunroof right here, and then move right on to the next feature in the car, hoping that the customer picked up on how this thing is going to positively transform their life. The trusted guide, though, does something a little bit different. Since you said your kids love road trips, and it sounds like you love taking road trips with your kid as well, check out the panoramic sunroof here. This thing's super cool. It's going to keep your kids entertained, especially at night, so they can look out at the stars, and it's going to keep that ride feeling open as you go along, and it's going to contribute to a little less fighting between your kids. You see, the trap is really easy to fall into for us, and the fix is even simpler. It's just a matter of telling the customer, hey, here's why this is going to be awesome. We're tying it back to the customer every single time. If the part that we're about to show is something that we cannot tie back, it is not worth putting that into your presentation because the customer didn't bring it up. They don't care about it. As far as this, it's time for us to start showing that we're listening to these individuals and we're not just a walking spec sheet or a brochure that they can pull up online and look at any moment that they want. And here's where today's tool comes into play. If you haven't downloaded it yet, again, it's in the show notes. Just click the link. It'll take you right on over and download it. Let me explain it to you. Pull it up if you got it already downloaded. If not, just listen along. I know you may be in the car right now, but I'll try to describe as best as I can. The card itself is broken into three simple columns. The first column that you're going to see on the tool is feature, second was going to be benefit, and the third one is the customer why. Now, I know some of you are looking at this going, well, where's the function? The function we'll get to in a later episode here, but today we're going to focus in on the items that sell, mainly the things that the customer really wants and how to tailor this to their life. And here's how this thing works. I want you to write on in there the feature that you're going to show. Then jot down in plain whatever language that you speak the benefit, right? Here is the benefit to this individual. Then in the why section there, tie it back to the customer. If you can't tie it back to the customer, it doesn't belong in your walk around. It doesn't belong in your presentation. It doesn't belong in the test drive. The reason for this is that we are trying to get in the mode of selling those items the customer came in to see. And when we talk about this in the scope of customer experience, if a customer comes in and they're talking to somebody that is proven to be listening to them and is also showing them on the vehicle the things that actually apply, the reasons why they came in, and they're confirming them, that individual actually wins the vast majority of the deals. So here's the example. The customer wants something like Smart Cruise. The benefit here, it's going to reduce driver fatigue. So write that on in best practice. First one, adaptive cruise. Second one, reduces fatigue on long drives. The why part of this is that the customer commutes for an hour each way back and forth to work. That's kind of a haul. But this isn't a spec. This is simply just a solution. The customer wants something that is going to reduce driver fatigue because they're driving all the time. That's the why here. And this little cue card that we're filling it in right now is going to keep us on the positive side in the customer's head because every feature you show has to be tied back to them, has to be tied back to the why. So if the why can't be checked off, that feature's a no-show. Just take it right out of your presentation because all it is clogging things up and you don't have the ability to apply a much more positive, elevated experience for that customer. Essentially, we're selling the customer in their lane. And this is a way, again, of confirming to them that, hey, I care, I'm kind, I'm going to bring this vehicle into your life in a way that you can understand. Try this one. Better way of going about it, tying it back to the customer. They wanted something like a boatload of airbags and a ton of safety. Let's just go ahead and give it to them. We'll start off with something like blind spot monitor. This car, feature-wise, blind spot monitor. We're writing that on in. The benefit warns you if a car is hiding out in your blind spot. Why? Well, you said that your daughter's about to start driving, and this is probably something that's going to keep her really safe. You see, now we're tying it back, and we're going back to what I said way in the beginning, where I was going on my little soapbox about how hot buttons are just a pile of garbage. Because nobody looks past the hot button. You see, the hot button here is that the person wants safety, but the cord that actually has the emotion attached to it is going to be the daughter starts driving soon. Hopefully, the person cares about their daughter. They want something safe, but this is where something like blind spot monitoring has a much bigger part of the conversation than just a boatload of airbags inside. We're talking about your kid not getting into an accident, as opposed to your kid's already in an accident. Here's how they survive, right? People want that preventative item first. The next one, bad scenario. It has Apple CarPlay. Now, that's going to sound awesome. And to somebody that's techie, they might understand your story here and where you're going. But the average person doesn't know about Apple CarPlay yet. They know that it's cool, it's on the vehicle, but let's tie it back on in. The feature in this that we're going to put in our rubric here is it has wireless CarPlay. Sweet. But in addition, the benefit to the customer that I can work with here, it does not have cables. It is a quick connect. They get in the car, bang, everything's right on the screen. My why in this, the piece that legitimizes if it is something that I should show or not. You said tech makes your life easier. Well, when you're rushing around like crazy, going from meeting to meeting, this thing's going to be there to help organize your life when you're in the vehicle. Again, we roped them back on in. We plugged them into that feature and we made sure that feature was something that they actually gave a crap about. Next up, this vehicle right here has like 18 feet of cargo space. That's pretty sweet, huh? Why does it matter? You're not even telling me how many bodies can fit in this thing. I have no frame of reference of 18 cubic feet. It doesn't work. How many golf bags? Tie it back to my life. So let's tie it back to the customer's life here. Feature on the Rubik, full flat seats. That's something that I can show. It's tangible. They can lay their hands on it. The benefit here, the vehicle fits a stroller and cooler better when those full flat seats are either out of the way, seats are up, whatever it might be. The why, You said weekend soccer trips with your family are your family's escape. It's the thing that they like to do. Heck, when there's a tournament, you told me that you even drive on over and you see the local tournament, even though your kids aren't playing. I think that's a pretty cool thing. But there needs to be a self check here, a self talk cue of sorts. Am I providing the customer with information proving that I actually listened to what they said? Do they care about this? Or am I proving that I studied the brochure? Now, proving that you studied the brochure is great, but this is also why I tell people that product knowledge is not necessarily royalty when it comes to selling cars. The royalty skills, the king and the queen of being able to close deals on down, is how well we can actually work with people. So if you can get that information and then mold it in a way that fits their life, you start checking off their mental cue card of got that, got that, got that. Okay, this is looking pretty darn good and it's working with my life beautifully. If we don't attempt to paint that picture with the features that the customer gives us, and we don't attempt to show them that this vehicle can actually function and work for them based on what they've told us in the first place, why bother? Why would you bother? If you were walking into a store and somebody was just like, hey, well, this is going to work for you, and you know darn well that is not what you wanted, it doesn't provide the benefits, it doesn't fill your why statements, your questions, then why bother sticking around? Seriously, people don't want to talk to people like that. So give the customer everything, but make sure they are part of that reason. And it makes sense to them, and it makes a lot more sense to your commission. All right, it's time to practice. And you should probably accept this challenge because it's not going to be too terribly difficult for you, and you're going to learn a lot out of it. So take that cue card. It's time for us to turn that thing into our presentation cheat sheet. I want you to pick 3 features, fill the card in. Just pick 3 random features, or think of a scenario and take that customer in that scenario and just pick 3 features for them. Now, here's the practice part. We filled in the whys based off of our imaginary avatar or whoever our customer might be. It's time for us to go out to a vehicle, practice that 3-minute walk around. Now, this could be you standing in a room with all of your sales consultants, all your fellow siblings at the dealership, and just having 4 chairs sitting there in the meeting room and everybody just going around and walk around style. The deal is, though, is that as you fill that card on in, pick a feature, deliver it, own it, tie it back. The more powerful this statement is, the more the tie back is on in there, the more the customer starts to mentally take ownership of this car. That works. I love it. That works. You got the emotion. Boom. If you get the emotional side of it, now all of a sudden that customer needs the car. We're creating a higher desire beyond I want. We are going ahead and creating I need this vehicle because it's perfect in every way. So these 3 things have to be priorities for this individual. And as I've always said, people buy cars for 5 to 7 reasons. That's it. 5 to 7 reasons. That's all. That's all you need to sell. Don't make your job harder than it actually is. And if it comes down to only 3 things, awesome. Sell those 3 things because it never comes down to price and product unless we force the customer into that particular situation. If they don't want the vehicle, we're $100 away a month and they're not saying yes. That's a pretty clear indicator that vehicle is not the exact one that they need. So take these features, beef up their ego, beef up their desire, sell those. That's what we're looking for here. In the benefits column, think of it a little bit differently than just simply like, how is this going to change their life and how is this going to benefit them? And don't slack on this. This is something that once you create an art out of your explanations, the customer sees the difference in your skill level versus somebody else that they've worked with. Don't put in some sort of bland line into this. Write a mini story. You could write one about 3 words if you like. Don't cheap out on this one. A feature, hands-free liftgate. Story behind it. Picture this. You're carrying your groceries and the gate opens up without you dropping anything. You mentioned that you dropped a lot last year and you were kind of ticked off in the winter. So I figured this would be something really cool to show you. And then use the why column as your closer. Since you said X, Y, or Z, that's why I showed you this. And again, this is why I'll tell you till I'm dead laying in the ground is that closing classes, they're garbage. The reason is that every time you get a micro yes out of a customer, that affords you the ability to have a micro close. And in the end, the customer just moves right along and says, yeah, absolutely, I'll buy this thing because I need it. I've developed that desire that is beyond just simply want. I need it bad. So grab a teammate, Practice this out, swap your cards, maybe take a look at theirs. It just off the cuff, you start to build up some talent with this. Here's my features. I want you to go ahead and present them. I'll take yours and I'm just going to drop right on in. But this is going to help you build tighter walkarounds. It's going to help you build tighter presentations. And it's going to help you look at that customer and go, hey, I'm going to prove to you that I care, even if you don't, because you've been listening to them the whole time. You provide that information back. You have already put yourself well above the behavior of other consultants that are out there. So practice on your own, practice with a teammate, practice with the team. But either way, this is something that will help you crush your commission, crush the sales floor, and really help you build long lasting relationships to keep those people come on in. Because this isn't just about impressing customers, it's about protecting your paycheck. Because there is a world in this business where volume and gross are directly tied together. And it comes down to exactly what most people want is a better experience. So when you use the cue card, here's what happens. Negotiations, they get shorter because the customer's likeliness of saying the major yes is much closer because they want this thing. The objections from the customer get lighter because there's less to object to because you just showed a vehicle that has absolutely everything they want. And trust is going to build exponentially faster because you prove to the customer that you were listening. On top of that, you also prove to the customer that you're only going to show them things that actually matter to them. As I've said before, I don't have kids. Don't show me child safety seats if I say safety. It doesn't make any sense. And remember, trust doesn't just close that one deal. Trust builds referrals, trust builds repeat business, and CSI scores that make you look like some sort of god in the eyes of the people around you. Because that trust does not afford somebody the ability, in most circumstances, to tank you on a survey, to eat up your gross profit. If they ate it up on the first car, they sure as heck won't eat it up on the second one. By getting that customer on your side and by proving to them that you are in this game for them, you are their partner, you are their consultant, they now know that they can give you more information and you can help them further. And the more information they give to us, the more of those hot button items that they provide means more emotional cues that we have in our arsenal to connect that customer to a product that's going to work for them in a positive way and transform their life in a positive way as well. So let's take a recap here. Discovery only matters if you show the customer that you listened. If you sit down with them and you're doing a needs assessment and you all went in one ear, right out the other, you might as well have just taken your customer from the car that they drove in on to whatever vehicle they want to see and hope for the best. Yeah, sure, you might get a mini on the board, but it doesn't get much better than that in most circumstances if you shortcut this part of the process. You got to listen to them. Also, you're not a walking brochure. Don't act like it. Yes, we all like to brag and we all like to go to walk around competitions and win a bunch of money if we have the ability to. But end of the day rolls around. A walking brochure can be found online at every single manufacturer's webpage. Be proof that they came to the right place and they have the right guide in the situation. Now, next week, episode 57, we're going to be covering delivery day and the emotional anchors that bolt them down to the floor when it comes to delivery. So, do yourself a solid here, real quick. If you want to grab that card, it's completely free. Just go down the show notes again, click the link in there. If you're already on the webpage, just look for episode 56 and just download that free cue card. It'll keep you and the customer in the same lane every single time. And after some practice of using it, you're going to be able to do this naturally. It was something that eventually just came to me after I would work with people, is being able to go, that person's in front of me. I'm listening to them because they're the most important person in my life right now. I'm providing that information back to them. And then I'm showing things on the car that always tie back to their life. And again, if I can't tie it back to their life, just unload that piece. It's not worth spending the time in there. That is it for today's episode. My name is Andrew Sardone with AutoKnerd. Get out there, spread the kindness, spread the caring, and show the customer that you actually cared. Because when it comes on the kindness and caring, those are the things that will wipe the vehicle and wipe the payment way out of the water and get you to close your deals faster with higher gross, bring home bigger paychecks, have a happier family, have a happier life. I will talk to you all next Thursday when we talk about delivery and those emotional anchors that will keep that customer coming back over and over and over again through the years. I'll talk to you soon. Download that tool in the show notes. I'll talk to you later. Bye.